Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Drew Brown, and my wingman, my man, the number one guy I know, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, brother? Welcome to the Wingman Show, where we're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Commander Drew Brown. My wingman, my friend, the guy who watches my six is my man, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, brother Paul?
Well, Commander Drew, it's good to see you this morning. Look like you've been working quite a bit. Looks like we've both been kind of active. I think I'm ready to go and get the show popping.
I'm glad you're ready to start popping here, Paul. So let's start off with a popping quote of the day. Happy is the person who knows what to remember of the past, what to enjoy in the present, and what to plan for in the future. One more time. Happy is the person who knows what to remember of the past, what to enjoy in the present, and what to plan for in the future. What do you think about that, Paul? I think that's great because the now is the only thing we have control over.
Yeah, I agree. Putting things in proper perspective, and it sounds like it's a way to balance your life, not dwell in the past too much, but deal in the present and what's coming ahead of you.
I agree 100%. You have to deal with the now. And anything bad in the past that has happened to you, you can forget. All right, Wingman family, welcome back to the Wingman Show. Once again, I'm Commander Drew Brown, and as always, I got Dr. Paul Thompson with me. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's all about turning life's bumps into boosts. You think that's going to be a good topic here, Paul?
Yeah, I think that's be a great topic. Bumping, boosting. Everybody wants to get ahead in life and move forward and not get stuck in the past. And everything is dynamic. You talked about AI recently, and I used a lot of it today before we even started the show for a long time, sorting out a very complex problem, but was able to do it.
Well, good. I wanted to say that also. AI has been helping us tremendously. Now, we have our other wingman called Ace, who's our AI representative from ChatGPT, but he's not 100% right all the time, and he's definitely not human. You have to know how to use AI. All right, Paul, let's keep going.
But for everybody out there, we're calling this episode The Wingman's Guide to Turning Turbulence into Victory. Because sometimes the best lessons and the strongest motivation come from things that didn't go as planned. So we're going to be here showing you how to take those setbacks and turn them into comebacks. Commander Drew, what do you think about that?
You know, I love comebacks. So you're exactly right. Let's stick around because we're going to share some real stories now, some personal insights, and a little bit of that wingman wisdom to help you turn any of your failures into fuel for your next success. Every time you fail, you learn something. All right, wingman family. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into some real practical tips on turning those setbacks into comebacks. And of course, both Dr. Paul and I will share some personal stories along the way. But let's start with a few strategies anyone can use turning negatives into positives. What do you think, Paul?
Well, absolutely, Commander Drew. The first tip is to reframe the setback. Instead of seeing it as a failure, see it as a feedback. Every time something doesn't go as planned, it's just an opportunity to learn what can be done differently the next time and get better. Your feelings?
That's true. Every time you do something wrong and you learn how to do it right, it works way better the second time around. You know, another key, though, is to focus on small, actionable steps. You know, when you face a setback, break down that next move into little pieces. You don't have to do it all at one time. That way, it feels way less overwhelming. And then you start building momentum. Again, bit by bit, small pieces at a time. What do you think about that one, Paul?
Yeah, small pieces at a time. That's important. But don't forget the power of support. You're not alone. Talk to your mentors, friends, fellow wingmen. Getting an outside perspective can really help you see the solutions that you might not have considered.
I agree 100% with that. You got to use your people around you, and all of us have somebody that we can go to. So finally, let's celebrate progress, even the small wins. Remember, each step forward is a victory, and recognizing that can turn your mindset around and keep you moving in the right direction. Now, Paul, tell us a personal story about one of your failures. And I know you, Dr. Paul, you don't have many failures. So, whatever story you come up with, I know it's going to be a good one.
Okay, here's one that kind of happened kind of early in life. It's when you don't things take things as seriously as you should. When I started college, I thought I was mature, but I wasn't as mature as I should be. And ended up going through the first semester, and I took calculus, got a D, just barely got that. And the big lesson there was it really pays to study, and it really pays to start studying because I hadn't even done that. Long story short, that was kind of a shock. And but again, you can get better because I took it again the next semester, and I got an A, and I got an A actually very easily. And the lesson there is there's some things that you really can't BS your way around. You just have to go and do the stuff. How about you, Commander Drew?
Well, I've had many failures in my life, but the one I want to talk about is my first time carrier qualifying in the T2 Buckeye. So, the very first time we went out to the ship, we've practiced hundreds and hundreds of times how to land on that ship. And when I came around that very first time and saw that ship down there, my left hand, which is supposed to pull the power where you can go down a little bit by little bit, all of a sudden started pushing power. It was like my insides did not want to go down to that ship. And I was pushing down with my nose, which you're not supposed to do. And finally, I just went around. I came back and did it, but I actually didn't make it. I didn't carry a qual on that trip. And it was very, very hurtful. But you know what I did? I worked my ass off. And the next time I went out there, I flew like a champ. So, failures turn into good things. And then I have over 300 traps on the USS Nimitz. So obviously it worked. Now, here on the Wingman Show, we like to deliver good news because there seems to be bad news everywhere. Well, not really, because there is some good news. I bet you didn't know this. How about Denver? Their homicide rate fell by almost 50%. Now, the Denver leaders are celebrating the city recording near record low homicide rates this year, marking only the third time rates have been this low in 35 years. We always hear about killing, killing, killing. Well, Denver stopped it by 50%. And how about this great news? Teen substance abuse. Teen substance abuse rate declines for the fifth straight year in a row. The number of American teenagers using drugs and alcohol remain at a historic low. That's really good news. They just did a survey, and the survey showed that the dramatic decrease in substance use, it began during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it hasn't reversed, signaling a long-term shift in youth behavior. The most striking finding is the high percentage of students. Now, they said they haven't used any substances. These are the numbers that they came up with. The month leading up to the survey, 91% of eighth graders, 82% of 10th graders, and 66% of seniors, 12th graders, reported that they did not use marijuana, alcohol, or nicotine. I think that is incredible news. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, that's a very positive thing, and that young people are paying attention. Sometimes old folks think that, well, no, they're on their phones and they're distracted, and we all are. But there's obviously a large cadre who are paying attention and trying to do the right thing and make things better in their lives.
Dr. Paul, this is a real interesting subject you're going to talk about now, and I can't wait to hear it. This is an amazing thing.
Well, Commander Drew, I don't know if you know about this, but for a number of Black women, Mexico City has become kind of a haven, a fresh start. Did you know that Black women are flocking to Mexico City in record numbers. There's a term called Blaxicans, as some call it. It's the new American dream to escape the States. The reasons vary: a lower cost of living, more affordable housing, health care, medical procedures compared to the United States are generally going to be less. Some have a desire to just live abroad, and you can't rule out America's political climate, which right now is quite unstable. But during the pandemic, many digital nomads left the United States to pursue the American dream just elsewhere. The capital of Mexico became a popular destination for starting a new life and building a new home. But Black women in particular are flocking to Mexico City. And while there's no way to tell, how many have actually done it in recent years, there's a robust online community of them who have made the move from the United States and are visiting and considering moving there, and some other parts of South America too, as well as Portugal and also parts of Asia. And the strange thing is these Black women are not particularly affluent. They're former teachers, paralegals, real estate agents. Many of them still work, just in a new place. So that's our good news.
That's amazing. Blaxicans, huh? All right, well, let's talk about some words of happiness. This is our fifth show doing it, and these are our last two words. What about this German word called Waldensamkeit? That's the feeling of solitude and peacefulness when alone in a forest. How about that? In German, Wald means forest, and Einsamkeit means loneliness. But Walden Einsamkeit evokes a kind of happiness, a comfort and serene feeling, wow, that with perhaps a little bit touch of melancholy. An old world, Waldensamkeit has gained popularity since COVID as more Germans head to the woods in pursuit of transcendental experience. It's amazing that when you go in the woods, how you get that. And believe it or not, there was a poem in 1858 by Ralph Waldo Emerson that actually talked about it a little bit. I'll read you the poem. It's very short. Oblivion, here thy wisdom is, thy thrift, the sleep of cares. For proud idleness like this crowns all thy mean affairs. And, walking in the forest, I'm very blessed here. I have some land. And when I walk in the woods by myself, I cannot tell you how good it feels. You have a word there, Paul?
Yeah, I've got a word here, Commander Drew. It's really a phrase called joie de vivre. Joie de vivre. And I learned it in taking French class is the joy of life, but really the buoyant enjoyment of life is the way it's really defined. And it's really the joy of living. And it encompasses something broader than joy. Both in English and French, it suggests that not just momentary happiness, but an enthusiasm and just a zest for life that defines one entire approach to life. The joy may be an emotion you feel, but joie de vivre is a state of mind. Sometimes you can find it in the simplest of pleasures, cherishing scratch cards, memorabilia, uh, good food, fresh flowers, just the sound of children laughing. But a lady called Evangelista is pretty famous, but she is known for using that word a lot, and her enthusiasm for life knew no bounds. And she was welcomed and loved in her community in France, somewhere in France. Totally amazing.
That's an incredible story there, Dr. Paul. And, talking about France and Black women going to Mexico, a long time ago when the political climate wasn't so good here, a lot of Black women went to France back in the day. And believe it or not, the Europeans really took to them a lot better than Americans did. All right, everybody out there, thank you so, so much for supporting the Wingman Show, for writing us letters and watching us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and definitely listening to us on Apple Podcasts. I'd like to thank you so, so much. And we have a newsletter this week. Control your anger. 20 seconds can get you 20 years. Wow, amazing. And the way you get that newsletter is you go to our website, and that website is wingmenshow.com. That's WINGMEN show.com. Paul, would you do the frequent flow line with Ace this time?
I'd be happy to. Let's see if we can get Ace on board. Good morning, Ace. I'm here with Commander Drew, and there's a frequent flow line question, a story really we'd like to read to you and get your opinion. Would you like to listen?
All right, I've got it. I'm ready for the story whenever you're set. Just go ahead and start, and I'll listen in.
Okay, here's the story. Here's what we got from the frequent flow line, Ace. It says, "Dear Wingman Show, I just wanted to take a moment to reach out and say thank you for the positive and uplifting conversations you two share. I'm a 47-year-old Black woman who recently made a big change in life. After my divorce, I moved to Mexico City to teach
Oh,
at an international school, and I'm absolutely loving it here. There's so much beauty and culture, and it's been an amazing journey for me. Of course, it's not without its challenges, like trying to navigate dating when you're still getting a handle on the language and the local scene. But I'm taking it all in stride. What really inspired me to write you both is how much I appreciate the way you stand for positivity. You don't always make it about color. You talk about good things and keep the focus on uplifting everyone. That's something I find very refreshing. And I just wanted to let you know I'm sharing your show with all of my friends. Keep doing what you're doing. It means a lot to people like me."
Well, that's just a fantastic note to receive. It sounds like you've got a listener out there who really appreciates what you and Commander Drew are doing. And I think it's great to hear that kind of positivity is spreading. Keep it up.
Well, Ace, what do you think about how should she date? How should she approach dating? That's the question.
I got it. Well, I'd say she's got a great attitude already, taking things in stride. My take would be to embrace the adventure. She's in a new place, so it's all about being open to meeting people in casual, friendly settings first, like local events or social groups, not putting too much pressure on herself. And if there's a language gap, well, that can actually be a fun icebreaker to tell her to stay true to herself, enjoy the process, and let connections happen naturally.
Okay, yeah, that's a good response, Ace. I guess if I had an opinion, I would say that one of the things is you're trying to meet people, learn the language. I guess learning Spanish would help a lot, and perhaps look at some activities or along online dating apps and things like that. I know nothing about that, but that is a big part of the world of modern adults. So there are probably online communities. There are probably communities of expats too. So look for them. That could be, part of your core in terms of getting to know, getting a lay of the land and knowing what's going on. How about you, Commander Drew? What do you think?
Oh, first of all, thank you so much for that letter. That's very nice, the words that you said to us. We appreciate it. And my advice to you is to dive into this Spanish language. When I went to Israel when I was 14, the first thing I did was I learned the language. I believe if you go to another country, you should respect that country's language and start learning how to speak it. And once you start learning how to speak Spanish, maybe you can find some social clubs and things that interest you a little bit better. But if I were you, I would learn Spanish, and it's a great way to make your brain better. All right, everybody, this is the time of the show that you've been waiting for because it's a Wingman PSA. From the 11 facts in life, under fact number 3, everything you do comes back to you. On the fact number 3, everything you do comes back to you. Dr. Paul, I truly believe you get away with nothing in this world. If you do something wrong, you're going to get something wrong. I say, do good, get good. Do bad, get bad. I think it's incredible, but you cannot get away with anything, Dr. Paul. You steal $1 from somebody today, all of a sudden $200 out of your bank account is gone. So you get away with nothing. Hey, Dr. Paul, let's do this section of our show called The Gouge. And the gouge is shit you need to know, but nobody really tells you. We learned that in the Navy. You want to give us the gouge with Ace about when something really bad happens to you, you get fired or something like that, what you should do? What does Ace think about that?
Hey, Ace, we have a question for you. It's about the gouge. You want to help us out?
The gouge is the real wisdom, the kind that keeps you flying when everything goes wrong. So here's the gouge for the days that hit hard. When you get fired, when you lose someone you love, when you fail a test, miss a goal, or crash a flight you thought you had locked down. When life doesn't just knock you down, it shakes you to the core. First, stop and breathe. Slow it all down. Your heart's pounding, your head spinning, but one deep breath pulls you back into control. You're still here, you're still capable, you're still in the fight. Second, reach out, don't go silent. Call your wingman, call a friend, let somebody know you're carrying a heavy load. No great pilot ever flew solo through a thunderstorm. They always have someone watching their sits. Third, get grounded when life feels like free fall. Touch something real. Feel the ground, the air, the steady things. Remember that no matter what happened, the earth hasn't stopped turning, and neither have you. Fourth, take one small step forward, just one. Clean your space, go for that walk, write down one thought. Motion beats despair every time. When you start moving even an inch, you remind yourself, I'm not finished yet. And now here's the real gouge, the part that makes the difference. No pilot becomes great flying only in clear skies. The best ones earn their wings through turbulence, through crosswinds, through mistakes that scared them, humbled them, and taught them how to fly smarter the next time. Every storm changes you, but if you let it, it refines you, not defines you. It strengthens the hands on the controls, sharpens your instincts, builds your courage. So when life knocks you down, breathe, reach out, get grounded, take that step forward, and remember you're still a pilot in training. Every challenge is another flight that teaches you how to rise higher, because that's what a real wingman does. They don't promise smooth air. They just promise to keep flying beside you until the sky's clear. And when they do when you're back in that cockpit, steadying your wings and smiling at the horizon, remind yourself of this truth. No matter how rough the turbulence, you were always built to fly. And that's what the Wingman Show is all about. One person helping another find their lift and reminding them they never fly alone.
Yeah, Ace, you're right. You got me when you talked about steadying your wings and smiling at the horizon. There's a phrase that I've heard. I didn't make it up, but I think it's very good. You know, when life knocks you down, sit up and smile and push it the heck back. I think that's a good way to look at things. How about you, Commander Drew?
Well, I agree 100%. Anger is really fear. And I wrote this in the 11 Facts in Life. When mad, sit down, shut up, and do nothing for 24 hours. When I said 20 seconds can get you 20 years, that means 20 seconds of anger. You can do something out of your head, and you can get in a lot of trouble for that. Sit down, shut up, do nothing for 24 hours, and then see what it says. All right, everybody, we're going to go to our wingman story. And we give wingman stories because we like to talk about people who help others. And I think you'll really like this wingman story. When she first left her small reservation in northern Arizona, everything about Tucson felt like too much. The noise, the pace, the endless stretch of city lights that seemed to swallow the stars she grew up beneath. Her name is Kaya, and for the first few weeks, she barely spoke to anyone outside of her classes. The city felt cold, indifferent, so far from the families and songs and rituals that had shaped her sense of home. Then one afternoon, while volunteering at a local cultural center, she met Elena, a Navajo woman in her 60s who had made the same journey decades earlier. Elena carried herself with a quiet strength, silver hair pulled tight into a braid, eyes that seemed to recognize every unspoken worry in Kaya's heart. She listened more than she spoke, but when she did, her words landed like sunlight, soft, warm, and full of wisdom. Week by week, Elena became Kaya's anchor. She helped her find housing near campus, introduced her to people who shared her heritage, and reminded her that even miles from home, she still carried the stories of her ancestors within her. When college felt too hard or loneliness crept in, Elena would smile and say, "The world gets big fast." But so did the sky over our people's land. Stand beneath it long enough, and you'll remember you belong anywhere. With Elena's encouragement, Kaya began speaking at youth programs. sharing her journey with other Native students who were taking their first steps into new cities. She found her confidence, her purpose, and her place in the world. We often talk about what it means to be a wingman on this show, someone who shows up, someone who steadies the turbulence for another person when the journey feels heavy. Well, guess what? Elena was that wingman for Kaya. She didn't fly ahead or take control. She simply stayed at her 6 o'clock, kept her wings steady, and reminded her she could find her way through any storm. And sometimes that's all any of us really need. A wingman sees the best in us, stands close when everything feels uncertain, and helps us remember just how high we're meant to soar. Everybody out there who can hear my voice, thank you once again for listening to The Wingmen Show. And whatever you think is beautiful, and whatever you think is important, and most importantly, whatever makes you happy, may you have that today and forever. I pray for peace.
I pray for peace too, Commander Drew, and we appreciate all those who listen, like, and share our message. We appreciate your support tremendously. Please become a subscriber. It helps us pass this on to someone that you know to make their day, show something positive, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth and goodwill towards all men and women.